theme tonight. But a call came up from the city we love, Providence, Rhode Island. So we put up into the sky the symbol for Monique Chartier. It's a secret symbol. I can't tell you what it is. But she came a running because yesterday, I believe it was yesterday, in a move straight out of the Gina Raimondo administration, we found out that certain people aren't going to be allowed to drive on certain roads. Now, if that sounds innocuous, it's not. We're going to harken back to the enabling legislation that talked about tolls here in Rhode Island. I don't think anyone listening to this show, if you're listening to this show at 8:39, I don't think I have to tell you. Okay, we take high-level language here. We actually take it fairly seriously. But in terms of legislation, the enabling legislation for tolls in Rhode Island sucks. I think that pretty much sums it up. But now we're faced with a situation that we were ultimately afraid of. One of two principal ones. The Department of Transportation held a surprise meeting that was brought to the public forum by Representative Mike Chippendale, if I have that correct.
Yes.
And were it not for him, and I teased Mike on this show a few times, and so I take it back for tonight. but he's a good man doing a lot of hard work, and he wow. So joining me in the studio is a goddess of all acronyms of all organizations that matter here in the state. We're going to start the conversation with her capacity as a communication director and someone intimately involved in running Stop Tolls RI. Monique, welcome back to the coalition.
Thank you so much, Pat. It's great to be here.
Okay, so we find what happened yesterday.
Right. So I'm going to start in my role as communications manager for the Rhode Island Center for Freedom and Prosperity, because that's where I first heard about it. All of a sudden, we got word that there was going to be a hearing at 9:30 a.m. yesterday at the State Traffic Commission, a request by the DOT to put serious restrictions for commercial trucks, basically class 7 and above trucks in Rhode Island, to restrict them from long stretches of secondary roads in Rhode Island. So this would have, so the center was, as far as I know, the first to react to this. They quickly issued a statement in which they denounced heavy-handed totalitarian measures to restrict the free flow of goods and commerce in Rhode Island. And I have to agree with the statement that this is a tactic that you would expect to see in Soviet socialist countries, not in the United States of America. So,
well, let me jump in for a second. Let's take the first step. Now, we were joking about this when I was driving in tonight, when you were nice enough to drop what you were doing and come into the show because you are a patriot. Anyone who has the misfortune of having to, for a variety of professional reasons, follow the Gina Raimondo Twitter feed, understand that during the Super Bowl, I think she tweeted out, or I shouldn't say she, the incredibly expensive professional staff that you and I pay for tweeted out 8 or 9 or 10 times about how the Patriots are doing. So, forgive me, it's been a hectic week out in coalition land, but I seem to have missed the tweet from Gina's office saying that they were contemplating actively promoting regulations, not law, regulations, which don't have to go through the kind of sniff test that laws do. They were actively promoting regulations that would prevent people from engaging in free transport of goods and services here in the United States of America. Am I the only one who missed that tweet?
No, I don't think you missed anything, Pat. I think this was very deliberately, they tried to slide this very much under the radar. They probably technically kept the letter of the law and posted this hearing where it had to be.
Wait, I'm picturing the men's room on the 3rd floor of the, what's that building up there where, I think I would call it Mordor, where the general administration sits. So on the 3rd floor men's bathroom, and then one of those cases underneath the smiley photos that saying yes you can, and all those affirmations, is buried a fine print for this notice. That's what I'm thinking.
That's the impression that we have on this. Absolutely, because there are a lot of people in Rhode Island who are very concerned about tolls and anything that may arise as a result of it. And so we try and monitor these things very carefully. And there was nothing whatsoever given in terms of advance notice or advertising beyond, again, probably the bare minimum for this. So they were trying to fly this by under the radar with zero attention by the public so that they could just take the next terrible step in moving towards truck tolls.
And by the way, this is not the first time they pulled this stunt. As I like to say, stupid government tricks. It's funny, I was reading the notices for the Washington County Fair, and I thought back just a couple of short years ago when DEM tried to promulgate regulations and hold a hearing that would involve farmers.
Yes.
The same week as the biggest farm festival in this part of the country.
Unbelievable.
So, as we like to say in the coalition, I'm shocked. Shocked. It must have been a coincidence.
Yes.
Okay, so people found out about the hearing.
Yes.
I guess Representative Chippendale was able to
Well,
then?
he was the only one to hear about it enough in advance, and he saw what they were planning to do. He apparently got a call from a constituent of his, a business in his district, who was going to be seriously affected by these new restrictions.
Mm-hmm.
So he dropped everything and went flying to this hearing, and he said, please wait, you need to understand what you're about to vote on. And it was to seriously restrict trucks.
Mm-hmm.
And so he able to get them to vote 3-2 not to approve this regulation or this new restriction, but to also move to take it up at a future date. So, major kudos to Rep. Chippendale for
Right.
stepping forward and exposing this and getting it stopped. I mean, thank you, Rep. Chippendale. Fantastic work.
And why do I have this mental image of Gina in the bunker at the State House doing the track, double track? Foiled again. who is the bad guy from Power Rangers, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers? Yeah, I have this image of, we'll show them. Sorry. But that's the kind of stupidity you have to expect, because that's the only way you can rationalize or reconcile this type of behavior.
Unfortunately, that's exactly right. Yes, I think there are some people who are really gnashing their teeth who are in favor of these tolls. Absolutely right about now.
Now, and let's, as so often the case is, okay, you've got the symptoms and the actual disease. The symptom in this case is, once again, at beauty pageants they have miscongeniality. So this year's award winner, of the Miss Transparency Award, will go to Gina Raimondo, governor, who I'm sure is probably equally annoyed because the spin that she had ready to roll, paid and bought for, what's that, newspaper, whatever, ready to go, is probably got to be on hold now.
Yes.
That's why maybe she had to come out this week with that whole thing about the PR firm getting an award for cooler and warmer. Yeah. So anyway, but you're talking about in a state where truck transportation is the primary method of delivering goods to businesses.
That's exactly right.
There are Providence, Worcester. There's a handful of freight lines. Those are really designed to support major industry. But if you're running a restaurant on one of those streets, if you're running anything, if you're not a major manufacturer, you're just a regular ham and egger. Now, by the way, I say that with love because I'm a ham and egger and I have profound respect for ham and eggers. But if you're running a regular business with about 5 or 10 people and somehow, despite the very best efforts of the state of Rhode Island and Providence Plantations, you've managed to not thrive, God forbid, but actually keep the business open, all right? How do you get your stuff?
On trucks. And
Pixie dust?
Yeah, and apparently.
Call Spock?
Yeah.
To the Vulcan mind?
Beam it over. Beam it over.
Because there's clearly no intelligent life down here. All right, so somehow, thanks to Representative Chippendale, we managed to avoid that for now.
Yes.
Does the center, do you get any sense that, they feel admonished at the state level for not publicizing this more aggressively?
I don't think so. I think that they are probably secretly disappointed that this came out. But I'd like to, if I could, discuss so what is proposed is that hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of trucks will be asked to and then somehow compelled to go only on routes where they will hit toll gantries. That's the entire point of these. These are road restrictions for commercial trucks so that they will not take the secondary roads and back roads, but to herd them into the toll
funnel them right into the tolls.
Funnel them into the tolls, exactly. There's enormous problems with this on a practical level. So as Rep. Chippendale's constituent said, Mike, Pat, all the businesses that have trucks, they're all parked on 95, right? All of them are all located, no, they're not. They're located all over Rhode Island. Some of them are in the hinterlands of Rhode Island. They're not conveniently located on these toll corridors. So some of them actually have to run these roads in order to get to their customers every day. So this, for example, this constituent of Mike Chippendale's said, I'm going to have to drive 50 miles out of the way every day to comply with this route restriction.
For the love of God. Which ironically will force all traffic onto a subset of roads, which won't that accelerate the demise of said road, physical condition of said roads, therefore defeating the entire purpose for which the tolls were put in, allegedly in the first place, which was to pay for the reconstruction of these roads.
Yes, that's exactly right. So that is one major problem with doing this. So you've got now hundreds of trucks a day are going to be compelled to go out of the way to go into the toll corridor. Then you've got the flip side of this. You've got trucks that need to go down the toll road, let's say, but they need to get off the toll road for some reason. The police officer pulls them over and he says to the driver, why are you going down this road? So already we have a problem. We're going to have to patrol hundreds, if not thousands, of trucks every day to ask them where they're going. Why are they not on the toll road? So, okay,
and by the way, the analogy that I used earlier this evening, please, sir, may I see your papers?
Right, exactly. So he's pulling the truck over, who hasn't broken the law. He now has to ask the trucker, the driver, why are you going down this road? So there's like a bunch of answers that he can give. So the only one that the driver can prove is if he's actually got to make a delivery. He shows them a bill of lading. Yes, I'm going down this road because I have to make a delivery. Okay, but then suppose that's not the case. Then the driver says, sir, I have to see him. I'm going down this road because I have to see a man about a dog. I'm going down this road because I want to get a coffee. I'm going down this road to pull off the road.
I'm going down the damn road because I feel like it.
I'm going down the road because I feel like it. But I'm not dodging the tolls. How is a police officer or a state trooper supposed to determine what really the reason for the driver being on that road is? Mm-hmm. And so this is the impossible situation that RIDOT and Governor Raimondo proposes to put hundreds and thousands of trucks daily in Rhode Island. And worst of all, or not worst of all, yet another bad aspect of this is state troopers and local police have other things to do than to harass legitimate drivers, legitimate people pursuing commerce in the state. They have other things to do. But for some reason, the proposal is to turn them into revenuers, as they used to call.
Right.
When there was prohibition, and they would pull people over, only instead of looking for illicit whiskey, we're looking for the naughty truck driver who's going down the wrong road for the wrong reason.
Right, and these are roads that are built specifically for commerce. I mean, there is well-documented reason why certain roads, as an aside, most of the roads surrounding Burrowville, aren't built for or suited for heavy-duty truck traffic.
Right.
There are limitations posted on those roads because of that.
Sure.
There's a level of common sense to that. These are commercially viable roads where people are located engaging in commerce that simply committed the cardinal error of not being built directly in the pathway of a gantry.
That's exactly right. These are legitimate secondary highways that are designed and made, as you say, to handle these heavy trucks. So there is no physical reason to divert them from these secondary roads.
Other than to funnel money into. So in a state where we're desperately trying to find ways to keep these people in business,
yes,
we are creating yet another, for lack of a better term, roadblock, all right, toward their success.
That is exactly right. You know, the Rhode Island Trucking Association put it very well. They said that the Governor Raimondo and RIDOT want to treat us trucks as rolling ATMs. And that is exactly right. But the problem is that it isn't just that the state wants to dip into the wallet of the truckers and the trucking companies. They're using the trucks to dip into all of our pockets, because it won't be just the truckers, right, as Gina so claims, that will be paying the tolls. They will pass part of that cost on to us. So as a matter of fact, they are using the trucks as rolling ATMs to levy a hidden tax on all of us. And that is an enormous problem, and it's yet another enormous dishonesty about the governor's truck toll proposal.
Right. I got to tell you, you know, you and I have been fighting these battles now. It's been a few years. We've heard some truly moronic situations. Parked on the job, no story, 38 studios. But just on a sheer level of basic stupidity. Gina, you win! Later on, another year or so, we'll have sound effects. The roof will open up, confetti will come down, balloons, balloon animals. Gina, I'll do balloon animals for you, okay? For you, all right? I do a really good donkey. Wow.
No, but you're raising a terrific point, because from the beginning, this has been the truck toll proposal has been fraught with gross misinformation and dishonesty. Because there were in terms of the misinformation, they've gotten the truck counts wrong. They have already lowered their truck counts quietly twice now, to the point where they won't even tell us what they think the truck counts are, and they have completely underestimated the diversion rate by which that's a critical factor when you're trying to calculate what you're going to collect for tolls. You have to calculate whether the truck that's going to go through Rhode Island will actually take $3.95 instead, and that has been completely underestimated. And the latest, so there has been both misinformation deliberately and dishonesty, and the latest dishonesty has been the assertion by DOT today that yesterday that this road restriction was not really pertaining to tolls. It was a question of safety, which is
the infamous safety argument.
Exactly. So I mean, but
Never heard that before.
As you said, it's a massive coincidence that all the roads that they want to steer these trucks onto are truck toll roads. No, that's all a coincidence. It's safety. It's a coincidence. It's about safety. It's not about the tolls. It's just more dishonesty, and it's laughable.
Nothing to look at here. Move along.
Exactly.
So one more thing in the game of if Rhode Island were a video game, it would be whack-a-mole.
Yes.
Because yet now we have one other thing, fast one, we have to watch out for from the people that we elected.
Right, exactly. Who, instead of acting honestly and openly and for our best interest, are sort of scurrying around behind the scenes and underground doing what they feel that they want to do. That I don't think that they're doing it for the best interest of Rhode Island and Rhode Islanders. They're doing it for other reasons.
Folks, if you're just joining me, Monique Chartier from the Rhode Island Center for Freedom and Prosperity and No Tolls Rhode Island is joining me here live in the studio. This segment, by the way, is sponsored by airsciences.net. Folks from airsciences.net cover the entire state, specializing in mold remediation, duct cleaning, and if, heaven forbid, someone in your family should be sensitive to biological issues, be in medical treatment, they do offer specials on home remediation, home disinfecting for practices like that. airsciences.net for the life you lead. So what's next? We wait until the next time, or
so this is now on everybody's radar. So now we're just going to keep an eye on the meeting announcements of the State Traffic Commission to see when it comes up again. There has also been.
Who knew? By the way, who knew there was a State Traffic Commission? What is it? Who's on the State Traffic Commission, Monique? I mean, and do they get paid? Do they get?
Great question.
I mean, do they get a pension? I want to be on a traffic commission. I want to be on a commission. Any chance you think this administration I'm getting on a commission?
I'm thinking possibly not, Pat. I'm sorry to break it to you.
Damn, I want to be on a commission. Do you get like a Dakota ring?
Oh, that would be great. I don't know.
Do you get pens? I'm gonna reference a movie. Do I get a special stapler? If I get a special stapler, I'm on board. Okay, where's my stapler? That's what I want to know.
Check into that.
Okay. Somebody, please, out there, if you're within this show's broadcast, tell me that there's the traffic commission folks don't get paid. All right. Tell me they're not related to other people in the DOT.
So yeah, we're going to keep an eye on their meeting announcements. There has also been concern that they will try and get this by another way. The only other way that I can think of would be through the General Assembly, but this is all on the radar now, so we need to keep an eye on it. The other news that came out is possibly as a result of this is that we have heard that gantries construction is going to start in the fall, and the first two gantries will be...
Finally, some cranes in the sky! you think they'll rent a crane in the sky for that one, even though like 5 guys could probably lift these up?
That's a very good question. I don't think that cranes funded by the taxpayers and the truckers really counts as cranes in the sky.
Cranes in the sky. Damn.
Darn. I know. So the first gantries are going to be 2 gantries are going to be live at the end of December apparently. So we have that to look forward to.
Do we know where those are going to be?
No, the rumor has been 95 down by exit 4 and exit 5, but that's obviously until it actually goes up, we're not going to.
I was going to say odds of it being in a Republican's district.
Oh, that's a good point. I hadn't thought of that. And for the record, every Republican and some Democrats voted against the tolls.
Right. Yeah, I was going to say who's the winner of that big lottery?
It's a very good point. It's a very good point. Yeah, it wasn't in Cranston or Providence.
Yeah, I was going to say, certain speakers. What's that bridge that was falling apart that they didn't? Okay.
The Park Avenue Bridge down the road from his office.
Yeah, I think that's where the first gantry should go.
That's an interesting point, actually. Every legislator who voted for tolls, I think that's something to be considered. Should get a gantry near there.
Yeah, and actually, I think it was on the Matty Allen show that he suggested that. Maybe it was him suggested that we name the gantries after.
Oh, I think that's a great idea.
Certain legislators.
Absolutely.
Maybe we can get the guy who did the Big Blue Bug to do the gantries. What do you think?
I don't know about that, but I think it's a fantastic idea. Every gantry should have the name of a legislator on it who voted. Yeah. This toll gantry brought to you courtesy Rep. Smith, Senator Jones.
There's a mailing in there, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And the crazy part is, even with their attempt to double down on stupidity and sheer stupidity. I mean, if you could, can you sue someone for legislative malpractice?
I don't know. I wish you could.
Wow. Most of the truck traffic is just probably going to go 395 anyway.
But the trucks that have to go through Rhode Island, they're going to be. Everybody seems to agree. Anybody who's spoken with a trucker, they're just going to take 395. It's 11 miles out of the way, but they'll avoid the toll in Rhode Island.
Right.
So.
Which will cost us dearly in terms of gasoline tax, dearly in terms of transportation costs.
There's registration fees that Rhode Island gets when a truck goes through the state.
Right.
Those will be lost. That's exactly right.
So again, is there any indication that anyone's done a study at any level, in any shape, way, or form, at any place, at any time, as to the revenue neutrality of this?
There have been numerous studies about this. The one that I find most convincing is, and I don't think there's any question about this, the issue is that in part of, it's called Rhode Works, is the program. Of course, I don't use the word toll in it. Part of it is borrowing. And the best numbers that we can come up with, half of the money that will be collected on tolls will go to repay interest and gantry costs. Half of the tolls.
Right.
So half of the money that's collected on tolls is going to be flushed down the drain, paid to Wall Street and paid to gantry maintenance and collection of tolls. It's completely absurd. It makes no sense whatsoever as a means of revenue, even if it were a legitimate means of revenue.
Right. So on a fundamental economic level, what you're literally doing is you're taking money that's in the state economy. And this is, you've heard me babble on about the paw socks often enough, so I guess this is my mantra for the year. But you're literally if I could compare the economy to Rhode Island to, for example, say Venezuela, where Venezuela is so desperate for hard dollars because of the sheer amount of capital flight that took place in the wake of all this economic madness, or any one of a number of countries which attempts to control their economy. On a fundamental economic level, between the money to Wall Street, the money to out-of-state vendors to manufacture and support, you're literally taking money and just shooting it right out of the economy.
That's a great point. I hadn't even thought of that. The money that's going isn't even going back into Rhode Island. It's going to Wall Street. It's going to out-of-state gantry.
Fundamental capital flight. To the tune of potentially billions of dollars.
Yes, that's exactly right. That is exactly right. It is just, and just for the record, the money to repair the bridges can be found in the budget. There were 2 different studies that showed that we can find the money in the budget to repair the roads and bridges. Tolls are completely unnecessary to do this.
Thank you so much again for coming in.
Thank you.
All right.
Pleasure.
On such short notice, I'm serious about the bat logo. I don't think we'll do bat. You got to tell me what you're.
Thank you, Pat.
So we'll do the logo up in the sky.
Thank you.
And when people and taxpayers in Rhode Island see the logo, they'll feel a little better because they know you're on the way.
Just quickly, if I could give
Absolutely.
the websites, rifreedom.org. I see our statement and lots of great information there. And then I'm a volunteer spokesperson for StopTollsRI.com.
Right. And both of which sites are referenced on coalitionradio.us. Right on the homepage, you'll see a little billboard flashing through. You'll see the Stop Tolls RI come across, because that's an issue, unfortunately, that's never going away. Do you think we'll ever have one of these nights on a Friday night where we're like hosting champagne glasses at the end of the night instead of like essentially talking
and saying how
ourselves
wonderful it is and everything is going well, and that'd be fantastic. Honestly, I would love that.
We'll do shooters or Jello shots or something. Is that? I mean,
I would love it. I would love it, truly.
Well, again, folks, if you're stuck with us through the entire show, or you catch parts of this in the future, thank you so very much for taking time from your evening to listen, or your day. You have a lot of choices as to where you can go get news and get information and discussion and conversation in a world of increasingly balkanized media, with real media and fake media mixed in. I'll let you make the judgment as to where we fall. But thank you for taking the time to listen. Folks, we are the Coalition, broadcasting live here on the Worldwide Coalition Network, 90 Way Boston Street, in the heart of the city we love, Providence, Rhode Island, the Naked City, the city of 1,000 stories. Tonight we talked with 4 different groups of people, nationally, locally. As always, they share one common denominator. They all hashtag take it very, very, very personally. We'll have some special guests lined up for next week, because we're about to embark on the silly season. Yes, it's the re-election season is starting all over again. Cue to the sound effects of people screaming in the shower, but it's back on us. So we'll be libertarian fabulous. We'll be up the backsides of the people who purport to run this state, the people who are elected, and the people who have essentially taken themselves and forced themselves upon us.